Spider-Man 2 is making waves after its recent surprise showing at the PlayStation State of Play. Many of us were expecting a more low-key or average State of Play, but some pretty big titles made some appearances. Now, I was confident they would not waste this opportunity to talk about Spider-Man 2, especially with its release date seemingly right around the corner. I was not expecting, however, such an in-depth look. I also did not expect the game to look so much better than the previous time that they showed this thing off. Based on developer commentary on Twitter, I expected the launch of the game to look better than what we had seen so far, but this trailer has already elevated itself, I think, above the previous showings. Now, I put all of the good information right here at the beginning of the video, so you don't have to go looking for the monologue and what I think, and then I discuss it with the live audience. We will also be looking at the Spider-Man 2 previews, so make sure you check out that separate stream as well. The excitement about Spider-Man 2 continues to grow after the latest trailers and the appearance at the PlayStation State of Play. Spider-Man as a character is enough to draw attention for the game itself, but the gameplay shown in the newest trailer looks remarkably better than the previous ones that we have seen. Beyond that, details about the game point to a truly larger game, as well as a true next-gen experience. First, I want to walk through some of my own observations about the trailer. My reaction during the initial viewing was pretty strong, and there was a handful of things that really stood out to me. Second, I want to talk about aspects of the game and features that they outline. Much is being made out of loading screens lately, and Spider-Man 2 tackles the issue head on. Lastly, I do want to consider Game of the Year potential, as that conversation is ever present. I have my own thoughts on the likelihood that a game like this wins Game of the Year, so I wanted to discuss that at the end of this monologue. So first, what did I notice? What were some of my observations? Well, the first thing I noticed was that the character models and the suits for both Peter and Miles were very, very good looking compared to the last games. Even during fast movement and fights and cinematic takedowns, you can see a greater level of detail in the suits. It makes them sort of pop against the backdrop of the city, which is a very subtle comic book effect, and I think it lands very well in the art style. The colors of the suits are also very vibrant. Color range in games like this is really important, and I think that they've nailed it. Beyond that, just basic effects coming off of their suits is impressive. I slowed things down for some screenshots, and there were a handful of times where Miles had some sort of electricity effects coming off of his body, and it looks very sharp, very detailed, and they even act as light sources against the suit. A few spots actually also showed the symbiote suit once again with Peter. A lot of the shots he's not in the symbiote suit, but there were some times where he had it, and the texture and reflective nature of the symbiote I thought looked very good. Lighting in general in the game looks great, especially when you see it reflecting on the surface of the symbiote, but even more so in the city. Traversal through the city looks even more stunning due to the speed and how much faster you can move, but it really shines at night. At various times, the water, the bridges, and the buildings look noticeably better and more detailed than the previous game. A few sections where the sun was sort of rising or setting, it makes the water and the environments take on a whole new level. I feel like I'm sort of, gushing a little bit, but this is a game that I'm really looking forward to. And I really feel like they've nailed the graphics, the tone, the characters, and the environments. Like, I was already really excited to play Spider-Man 2, but this trailer in particular got me very excited. I couldn't help but notice the one shot where it was at night and there was like a bridge with all these lights on it. A couple of shots that you just saw swinging through the city, the reflections of the buildings inside the other buildings, and just the lighting in general, I think looks very, very good. The city blocks, also if you consider just moving through the city, the blocks and the streets themselves just seem more populated. There's more cars, more people. It just feels more like a living city than before. So that was just sort of some of my observations, right? Great trailer, great showing. I wasn't expecting this, but they did go into detail about certain aspects of the game in this trailer. It wasn't just like, hey, look how pretty our game is. They actually broke down some of the things that you're going to experience in the game with respect to features, as well as just aspects of how the game functions. Now, the first thing to mention is the map, okay? It's almost twice as large as the last game. I think this is great to sort of dispel the notion that this is just DLC, right? We face this with Horizon Forbidden West. We face this with God of War Ragnarok, okay? Anti-Sony fans and haters want to call every sequel that they can't play DLC, right? And that, I think Spider-Man's in a more unique scenario, though, okay? Because we are dealing with the same city. They're in New York. But the fact that they have essentially doubled the size of the map, I think, is a good thing. I'm practically getting a whole new map plus the original one. This means that the game far exceeds the size and the scope of the previous game. This makes it a proper sequel, especially since you now have 2 playable characters in one game, and they both have new abilities, powers, and gadgets. And then there's a whole new way as well, I'm assuming, to play as Peter, since he can get the symbiote suit. The second thing worthy of note is the near instantaneous switching between Peter and Miles. You can tell that that aspect was very important to Insomniac because they took care to design it this way, but they also drew attention to this. They didn't just say, hey, you're going to be able to do this, but they actually showed how it's going to work, and it was something that was very important to the design of the game. In a game of this size, it's impressive that they were able to do something like this. Insomniac continues to show themselves to be the true wizards of the development world. Now, closely related to the instant character switching is the fast travel. A roughly 2 to 3 second loading screen is essentially sort of hidden into this animation. They show like Miles flying, and that animation is essentially the loading screen. There is no loading screen. You literally pick where you want to go, you hold down the button, and the little meter fills. I mean, I'm doing that right now in Jedi Survivor. Like, you hold down the button, the little meter fills. That's not the loading screen. The loading screen is what comes after they do that in the shot. And then it just shows him suddenly flying in the part of the city that was chosen. Not since Ghosts of Tsushima have I seen fast travel look so seamless. One of the only real gripes I have with Jedi Survivor right now is the loading screens, right? It doesn't really feel like a next-gen game because if I die, if I have to respawn, or if I fast travel, the loading screens, you know, are 4 to sometimes 6 seconds, it seems. This, to me, is a true next-gen PS5 game if fast traveling doesn't even feel like a loading screen anymore. You get to see it here. They filled the meter at the bottom, and that's it. Boom, you're back in the game. And that little animation there, you can tell he was not in control of the character until the little map down in the corner shows up. So it's a more immersive way to let somebody fast travel. Keep in mind, when Ghost of Tsushima got rid of loading screens, that was a PlayStation 4 game that had been updated on the PS5. This is a next-gen PS5 game, and fast traveling doesn't even really feel like a loading screen. It sort of feels like an immersive shortcut that takes you out of the action. Quite literally, I think it's longer to be on the map and choosing where you're going to go. That takes longer than it does to load in to the section that they chose. So I think it's very, very impressive use of the tech. Now, they also showed off a new way that have visual cues and objectives and side quests, sort of like things to do in the area. It's sort of like an augmented reality thing where you like look out over the city and there's all these floating icons. Now, they're not there all of the time. That's something you can choose to do. I think this is a really, really great change because it sort of keeps you in the game. I enjoy clearing maps. I enjoy taking like sections of the map and clearing it. I did this in the first Spider-Man. I would get like all the little green check boxes, but constantly having to open up the map is a bit of a pain, but it's also a thing of the past. You just don't have to do that in Spider-Man 2. You can find the next thing to do in the area and just completely stay in the action. Now, another feature mentioned that I think is worthy of note is that side quests can lead to Marvel villains. This game is apparently one that is busting at the seams full of villains. Like, there's a lot of villains in the game, and they stress that you're going to need to like be greater together. They keep stressing that, and I know they're really, linking that to Miles and Peter, but it does make me wonder if they're dropping hints already about the Spider-Verse. Like, are you going to have to be greater together with all of the other Spider-Men? And is that going to be kind of how they set it up, right? There's so many villains that, something happens, and I've consistently thought that the third game will be the game where they introduce the Spider-Verse. Now, I like this, though, that a side quest can take you to a villain, because a lot of the time side quests can sort of feel like an errand, and I like the fact that, no, this will, in fact, potentially take you to an actual villain. Okay, I think that's not necessarily a deal breaker. I think plenty of games have side quests and errands and little checkboxes. That's totally fine for an open world game to do that, but it's nice that they're adding a little bit of substance along the way. Now, they also showed off just how fast you can get around the city. I think that was a smart choice. I loved swinging through New York in the last game, but with the map growing in size to the degree that it is, I think it's nice in a sequel, like one that you're kind of accustomed to. It's like, well, I played the last game, to help us navigate the city even faster and more effectively. Now, they showed this off last time, but they again made sure to showcase just how fast you can move through New York, and they did mention the PS5 SSD. I again need to address the fact that they are not saying the PS5 SSD is special. They are merely showing the benefits of the PlayStation 5 hardware. It's like saying, hey, I put extra RAM in my computer, and because of that extra RAM, I'm getting better results. You're not saying that the RAM is special. You're just pointing to a causality. You're saying this is the causality of this result. That's all they're doing. They're saying, listen, the SSD in the PS5, it allows us to do things that we couldn't previously do. All right? Rest assured, anti-Sony fans and PC Master Race fanatics will misrepresent this. I guarantee you they will. They've already got videos ready for when Spider-Man 2 comes to PC. They can claim that Insomniac lied. They didn't, like they did with Ratchet and Clank. They didn't. They never once said that the SSD was special. They implied that this was something new they could do, something they couldn't do previously before. When they promote the PlayStation 5 and its SSD, they're not pitting this against your precious PC that you spend thousands of dollars on. They're stressing that this is something that's only possible because we're no longer on the older hardware. We're in the next gen. You have to remember that one of the selling points of these next-gen consoles was increased resolution, higher frame rates, and no more loading screens. If you go back to all the marketing, these were things that they talked about, so it makes sense to reference that and say, hey, remember all those hardware promises we made? Well, you bought this hardware, and here's some of the great things you're getting because of that, okay? Keep that in mind when your other games on other systems aren't doing that. You're not getting what you were promised. I think it's fair to point that out. Anytime a game launches on the PS5, I guess we're going to have to revisit this. False narratives are tiring, so maybe try to find a new one at least. The last thing that they focused on was the 65 suits and the over 200 ways to customize Spider-Man. All in all, I thought it was a great showing. I thought they showed how much bigger the world was, how pretty the game was, but also, hey, here's all these great ways to customize your character. If you want to check out the PlayStation blog, they showed off a lot of high-res images of the suits that you get from the deluxe edition. When I first checked out the blog, they weren't there. They have now gone back and added those images. So everyone was like quick to jump on the blog and the information, and the images had not yet been uploaded, it seems. So now I want to talk about here at the end, though, Game of the Year potential. Okay, everybody's already talking about that. Could this thing win Game of the Year? After the recent trailer, I have very little doubt that Spider-Man 2 will get a Game of the Year nomination. It stands to get nominations in a handful of categories, but this is just my opinion. I think a game like Spider-Man 2 will have a hard time actually winning the Game of the Year category. I think there is a ceiling on what you can do in an open-world action-adventure game. I also think there is a ceiling on what you can do in a superhero game. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, this is just my opinion, but I think that's something to consider. I see this game getting 9 out of 10 from many of the outlets, right? I don't see a lot of outlets scoring this lower than even an 8.5. It will likely be praised as one of the best-looking PlayStation 5 games, one of the most impressive PlayStation 5 games. I'm sure it's going to be hailed as Insomniac's biggest and best-looking game up to now, okay? But a Game of the Year is an incredibly tough category, and it's a really tough category this year, especially with Baldur's Gate 3 checking so many boxes. Baldur's Gate 3 is almost in its own category of transcendence. It's not just a good CRPG, it's a game that achieves excellence in virtually every single category. Some of those categories I don't even think Spider-Man 2 can touch, and that's okay. It's sort of like Best Picture, Best Motion Picture at the Oscars, right? No Country for Old Men is far more likely to win Best Picture, even against the best superhero movie ever released. If you pick the best one, if you pick the most commercially successful, highest reviewed, most critically acclaimed superhero movie, it's going to have a hard time winning Best Picture against something like No Country for Old Men. And I think that's kind of the scenario that we're looking at now. Is that fair? I don't know. That's just how I see it, and that's how I see this one ultimately shaking out. As far as I can tell, Spider-Man 2 will be one of the best games to come out this year. And with how great it looks and how great it continues to look, that's saying a lot about 2023 and how great gaming is right now. With Insomniac devs continuing to say that we've only seen the tip of the iceberg, I cannot wait to dive, or, well, swing back into New York with Spider-Man 2 in October. So let me give you my thoughts and my conclusions. This is a bit of a puff piece, okay? I'm kind of gushing. I'm really excited about this game, and I did not expect this trailer or anything that they showed to get me more excited. I was already pretty excited, but this trailer really, in my opinion, kind of blew the doors off. It's like I did not think it was going to look better than before. I expected it to look better once the game launched, but this looks even better than their first outing. So first, I think the PlayStation State of Play exceeded my expectations. Spider-Man 2 obviously is helping with that, but primarily I went into the State of Play expecting some indie titles, some PSVR 2 titles, and then Helldivers 2. But we got a 20-minute jam-packed show with gameplay and release dates. Those are my two favorite things in a showcase. Gameplay, release dates. I don't care if the games don't interest me, as long as you're giving me gameplay and release dates, okay? I don't expect every game to interest me, okay? There was such a wide breadth. There was pretty much something for everyone, and I think a lot of people, that's really lost on them when it comes to a State of Play. They're saying, oh, it's mid, it was disappointing. I usually go into a State of Play or a showcase like this. I expect 2 to maybe on the upwards of 4 of the games to really interest me. I expect the lion's share of the games to not interest me because they're not all going to appeal to me, all right? There's going to be games for kids. There's going to be games that land in different genres and even different sort of cultural backgrounds that just don't really jive with me, all right? There were plenty of games people were geeking out about during State of Play, and I was like, I don't even know what this game is, or I've never really played this game before. Other people seem to expect a non-stop barrage of big AAA titles, and they always, without fail, these people complain about every showcase in existence. If every showcase, every State of Play ends up disappointing you, maybe it's a you problem. Maybe you should change your expectations. I don't think I've ever seen a showcase or a State of Play end where there's not a just massive amount of people that just say it was lame and boring and mid. I again think that these people are sort of incessantly impossible to please, and gaming isn't even something they enjoy anymore. They actually enjoy complaining about gaming more than even gaming itself. So, secondly, with lightning speed, the Spider-Man 2 trailer is already being decried as bad or not impressive. In a truly unsurprising fashion, smear merchants are already running with low-res screenshots and claims that the game looks old-gen, which is hilarious in light of how amazing this game actually looks compared to what old gen actually looks like. I think the false narrative, though, that I loathe the most is the one about the PS5 SSD. It's a selling feature of the console. Why would they not mention it, right? It makes fast travel and fast traversal in a city this size possible. It makes the near instant character switching possible, okay? But fret not. False framers are here to convince you that PlayStation and Insomniac are claiming the SSD is special. Even though they have literally never said that, that's the continued narrative every time they mention the SSD. But, making content and claims out of thin air is a great way to drive fake outrage and impressions. My conclusion is this. The Spider-Man 2 previews are about to drop, and given how early they are dropping, I expect another healthy embargo date for reviews, just like we saw with God of War Ragnarok. And without reading or hearing a single one, I already know it's going to be pretty tough as a cynic or a critic or a hater to say much. You're just going to have to continue to grab either blurry screenshots to lie or just make up things entirely. So, will Spider-Man 2 win Game of the Year? I don't know. Probably not. But as far as I can tell, it's going to give all the games in 2023 a run for their money. And that is something that I think is worth celebrating. And that's the show open. Thank you guys so much for being here. We are going to do a second show today, and we are going to give you a Spider-Man 2 preview rundown. we are going to use a little scene that we build, and it's going to be Mike and myself breaking down, talking about, reading all of the various previews that are coming. They're coming in like 5 minutes. So we're going to take a look at those, because I really, really think that shows a lot of confidence in the game, that virtually like a month before it comes out, they're already letting people get their hands on it, right? I saw people that got to go to the event that are, pretty big Xbox fans. So I think Insomniac's very, very confident, very, very confident in this game performing well. So make sure you guys go through all the rituals, though. This is just the first show of the day, and there it is, Joker Quinn. Joker Quinn shoots first. Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you, Joker Quinn. Mike on the mic, a little too slow, but a single gifted member comes in from Mike on the mic. Thank you guys so much for those first 2 gifted members of the day. Let's get the daily goal out here and updated. That's 2. And thank you guys so much. You're about 250 members away from the first goal. Every month we have multiple goals, and at 3,000 members you unlock Fight Night, and Fight Night is tonight. You guys unlocked Fight Night last month. You can watch my wife and I tonight play Mortal Kombat 1. It'll be hysterical because we do not play games like that. So make sure you guys are doing all the things. There's almost 700 people here, so make sure you're smashing the like button. We should easily have 300 likes. Thank you so much for already giving us 200 likes on the video. Gollum is still a goal, Sane, but it's super far away. We have incremental goals. At 3,000, you get Fight Night. At like 3,500, you get Fright Night. We'll play a scary game. At 4,000 members, you get Community Game Night. And then 4,500 is Gollum. But Gollum is so far out there, we thought it would be better to talk about the incremental goals. Another gifted member coming in from Ragnarok. Thank you so much, Ragnarok. And a $5 tip from Phrase Cram. Insomniac's ability to use an SSD is something that Bethesda should learn from. The Series X and S also have NVMe SSDs. Please use it. Todd. I mean, we have no idea why they made the decisions they made. It's a different game. It's built in a different engine. It's built in different ways. I'm not really worried about that. The research, the takedowns, a truly S-tier opener. Well done. Thank you. No Stellar Blade. Yeah, Stellar Blade was rumored to be there alongside Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it didn't make the cut. We're not really sure why, but that's what happened. Lono's wife's going to destroy him in Mortal Kombat. I don't know about that. Cracks me up that gamers are asking where PlayStation first-party games are. Well, I think people continue to forget. That there's no reason to talk about first-party titles when Spider-Man's a month away. Like, what good does it do to say, oh yeah, this is what Sucker Punch is working on? Like, who cares? They're trying to generate as much possible revenue as possible, and a great way of doing that is to only focus on Spider-Man. Like, episodic marketing is going to be the continued theme going forward. Like, some guy told me on Twitter I was coping. I'm like, I'm not coping. That's just the observation. That's the reality. That's what they've been doing. They did something similar with, The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Like, once that was out, then they started marketing and being a little bit more heavy with Ragnarok. They're not going to start talking about something coming next year. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't think people understand that marketing doesn't care about what you want. Marketing cares about what's effective. Does that make sense? When you're trying to market your company, your product, your software, whatever, you're going for what's effective. It would be really ineffective right now to do a state of play like, hey, we know Spider-Man's coming out in a month, but let's talk about a game that we don't even have a release date for yet. Here's early looks at Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like, that just doesn't serve a purpose. Yeah, and they're getting us to February because Helldivers 2 got bumped to February. February is also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is it not? So I kept saying, I want to hear about next year. I want to hear about next year. We might have to wait until like February or March. I'm serious. I think they're just going to keep doing this. They're going to be like, hey man, here comes Spider-Man. And then we're like, cool. And they'll just keep Spider-Man. Then Spider-Man will come out. And they're like, hey man, here comes Helldivers and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And it'll be marketing. And then after those things come out, they'll be like, all right, here's the next thing. That's why I keep referring to it as like episodic marketing. They don't. Yeah, you like the shirt? I like this shirt. I like this one. They do not have to talk to you about anything else right now because it wouldn't be effective. It wouldn't matter. Is giving you, let's just imagine that Wolverine's coming next year. Okay, I don't know, November. Does it do anything right now to say that? Like, what purpose does that serve? What? It lets you know it's coming, but other than that, they're going for effective marketing. Effective marketing is saying, hey, general population, here's everything that's right around the corner. We got like an open beta for Foam Stars. We got Spider-Man. Oh, don't worry, we got things in February coming too. And I think they also showed Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That's in December. And everyone's like, oh, why'd they show that? Why'd they show that? It's third party. What do you mean why they show that? They're showing you games that are coming. Yo, good morning, Feed. Good to see you in the chat. I continue to think that people don't necessarily understand that we are not the target audience. The general target audience watches a showcase like that, and there are probably people in that showcase that have zero interest in Final Fantasy, but they got really excited at some of those other RPGs that they showed. Or they don't care about those other RPGs. All they care about is Spider-Man. Or they think that Pandora game looks awesome, right? I genuinely think, people don't necessarily understand that we're not necessarily the target audience. The general public, there's a broad spectrum of the populace. They have the Asian market, they have the Western market, they've got the globe that they've got to consider, and certain games, certain game types, certain characters are going to do very, very well. And then if you watch it and you walk away and you're like, well, there was 2 or 3 games that I was really excited about, but the rest I was not, they're probably pretty satisfied with that. Because there's a person out there that's the exact opposite of you. Like if you walked away and you're like, yo, Resident Evil VR, Spider-Man, and Final Fantasy, can't wait. There's somebody out there that's not like you, that's like, I don't know, Resident Evil and Spider-Man and Final Fantasy. I'm excited about Foam Stars, or I'm excited about Avatar. Like, there's people out there that are on the other end of all those spectrums. A 10 spot from the Oof Files. Longtime lurker, first time super chat. Oh boy, hasn't Spider-Man 2 ruffled the feathers of the green machine? Insomniac is definitely flexing the SSD and the memory bandwidth with loading times and character swap. And have no fear, the PC Master Race boys, they get so triggered by that. They're like, well, it's not a special SSD. They're not trying to say that it's special. They're marketing to a giant group of people. Think about this. There's 38 million PlayStation 5s in circulation. They sold over 120 PlayStation 4s. So there's 80-something million consumers out there that are going to be like, what? The PS5's SSD is going to let me do what? Well, I could wait an undetermined amount of time, a year and a half to 2 years, and I can play it on my PC. Nobody cares about you. Insomniac and PlayStation don't care about you. They'll get your money eventually. Go sit down and be quiet. We'll get to you. We'll get your money later. We care about the 120 million people who bought a PlayStation 4. Telling them that the PS5's SSD lets us do this fast traversal, lets us do this instantaneous loading, lets us do this. It's like, oh, why do they talk about it being special? Because they're trying to make money and they're smarter than you? I think that's probably it. That's probably it. Another gifted member from Guillermo Gonzalez. Thank you so much. Bringing us in the 4 members on the day. Thank you so much. That's a single gifted member. Thank you very much. Everybody loses sight of that. It's like they've only sold roughly 40 million PlayStation 5s. They have to keep marketing to the people who haven't bought one yet. And you think they're somehow like saying something that I guess is a threat to your $4,000 space PC. You're like, my fifis are ruffled. My SSD is just as special. No, nobody cares about you. You're not the target market. You're not the target market. They're trying to hit sales projections of the PS5. That's all that matters to them. Henry Heck gifts a member, and that's a layup. That puts us right at 5. I don't know if any of the big boys are here, but that's a 20 bomb waiting to happen. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. Henry Heck. Fast Travel saw same narrative. I get back to Spider-Man 6 out of 10. Line was told to Starfield. Let me go straight for 10 minutes. See if I hit a boundary. 6 out of 10. Or move the goalpost. I don't know what you're talking about. There are no boundaries in the open world of Spider-Man. There's the end of the map. What are you talking about? That's not even a comparison. It's a false equivalency. And loading screens? There are no loading screens. They showed you how fast travel worked. It's not a loading screen. It's literally an animation. You're immediately in the city, in engine. Whoop, I can control the character. That's not a loading screen. Do you know what a loading screen is? You know what it is? This is a loading screen, bro. That's a loading screen. That's a loading screen. You don't want to know. You want to know what's not a loading screen? This little green animation. That's not a loading screen, right? I just gave you a real life example. Watch, here he fast travels and zoom. That's not a loading screen. That's like a transition. A loading screen is when you literally get like a static image and a little spinner down in the corner. Trust me. There's loading screens in Jedi Survivor, and I think they're a little too long. It's a little irritating. It's like Jedi Survivor Left Behind Old Gen. It's good looking. It's pretty game. But why do I have so many loading screens? Why are they so long? If I die and respawn, it's like sometime today, and I'm back in the game. That's a loading screen. People move the goalposts and redefine what a loading screen is. And it's like, there are people that would probably argue that in Ghost of Tsushima, the fact that like you go to the map and you click on a location and it fades and then you're in the game, they'd be like, yeah, that was a loading screen. That 1 second, fade, that was a loading screen. That's the kind of like good faith, bad faith arguments we get stuck in. I know Jedi's coming to old gen. I don't know when, but like I genuinely don't understand why that game exists the way that it exists. Why was performance mode so bad? Why does it have loading screens? I just don't get it. Doesn't loading screen by definition need to be a screen? Yes, it's in the word. It's in the word. It's a screen. It's a completely different screen. And in Spider-Man, it's like, here's your map. Oh, you want to fast travel there? No worries. Zoom in on that location. Here's Miles. You're playing. Like, that's it. That's all it does. Well, it's 2 seconds. I saw people saying that the little meter filling at the bottom was part of the loading screen. I was like, that's the person holding down the button. Oh my gosh. They're holding the button down. It's comical. It's comical at this point. It's like so desperate just to make things up. It's like, well, that loading screen. I got a stopwatch. It was 2 seconds. It's just the same. It's like, no. What's that mean? We are not the same? No. Here come the previews. The previews are glowing. This guy on Twitter saying, I played Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and it was one of the best demos I've ever experienced. Far grander in scope with jaw-dropping set pieces, but still full of the heartfelt moments that define Spider-Man. I'm in awe. I'm in awe. The previews are rolling in. This guy says, new details I learned from my time playing Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. The new symbiote surge ability, similar to the rage ability from God of War. Spider-Verse side quest. I told you that we were likely to get some Spider-Verse in this game. There's an option to toggle fall damage on or off. Interesting. Symbiote suit is just an alternate suit. Let me pull this entire tweet up. I can't see the rest in the Discord. As an alternate suit, you can use symbiote abilities with whatever alternate suit you want. That's nice because you might not want to look like the symbiote but still use the abilities, right? You can set your L1 special attack wheel to only symbiote attacks, only Iron Man attacks, or both. Nice. Miles or Peter will sometimes join you during random crimes. Robbie Robertson narrates tidbits about New York City through a side quest where you take pictures of notable things. Boss battles now have a health bar. Lizard Fight is a huge step up from boss fights in the last 2 games. You guys have got to see the screenshots. We're going to look at previews with Mike, but there's so many. I can look at some of them with you right now. Let's take a look at these screenshots that he just posted. So this is his. I'll move to the other side because we are on Twitter. Right, so here's everything I just read to you, and he's got some screenshots for you. Likely they might have sent these to him to use in the preview. Oh my gosh, look at the lighting on the symbiote suit. My word. That's just unbelievable. The detail they've put into this is just nuts with the lighting and the textures. That's gorgeous. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, something I pointed out in the show open was that the symbiote itself, like, it's reflective. Keep them coming, guys. If you find good summaries and previews on Twitter, keep them coming. We'll keep looking at them. And hang on, 23 months. 23 months went by like lightning, filled with passion and success. I'm absolutely happy to be part of this amazing community. Thank you so much. Easy Allies from their preview says, after a couple hours with Peter and Miles, it's clear that combat, traversal, traffic, side quests, and so much of Spider-Man 2 is a big improvement over the last 2 games. It's nonstop. Why is Godot trending? What happened? I'm 8 years older. How much are you? Oh, it's something. I thought it was like Gal. I was like, it's something else. Godot, I guess. Here, I'm going to save some of these for later. I've got an IGN one. We'll look at this one later. I'll just show you the screenshot. Jiminy Christmas. It's so pretty. They did such a good job that the lighting especially was so noticeable in the new gameplay. I'm looking for more here. Here we go. MBG says, after playing 3 hours of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, my hype has only increased. Insomniac has delivered what may end up as the best superhero video game of all time. The gameplay is so fluid, the combat super deep and rewarding. Really impressed so far. Oh, that's Jeff Keighley. That's not MBG. Jeff Keighley said that about Spider-Man 2. Yeah, new screenshots from the Insomniac Twitter account. There's new footage out as well. Here is a sample. Here's 14 seconds of the fight that we just heard about. You can see there's a health bar at the top. And, yep. Yeah, see, this looks more like an actual, like, face-off brawl than the previous game. Like, he's, like, in the mix with him, fighting him. Looking like there's some counters and parry potential, too. Gosh, it looks good. I mean, this is obviously Twitter, so it's kind of blurry. But Jiminy Christmas, it looks good. It's so fast. Twisted Sin was 6 months. Godot is a game dev engine. It's trending because of Unity killing itself. Oh. I was wondering why it was trending. I thought maybe something was going on with Gal. I was like, what's going on with our girl? What's happening? GameSpot says Spider-Man 2 is building on familiar ideas to make web-slinging exciting new directions. I tell you what, let's go to YouTube because Mike and I are primarily going to be reading some of the previews. So let's go to YouTube here and just see if we've got some new footage. I'm not going to watch somebody's entire video. We will try to only show a little bit. So IGN's got 8.5 minutes. Let's see if they have any new footage in theirs. Let's see. This looks like everything from the trailer. I can't tell if there's any new stuff. Yeah. They've got some new stuff here. Fighting different like trash ads. There's like mechanical dogs. We saw a little bit of this a second ago at lower res. Not this exact footage, but that fight. Quick little montages here and there. I'm not going to show you the whole video. I don't want to, like, take from somebody's preview, like, just as it hits live. We'll just watch for maybe a minute, and then we'll find somebody else's to go sample. So that way I don't want to do replacement content. These people got the ability to play early in preview. We got one coming from Push Square we'll check out. Yo, Joker Quinn gifts a member. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn, taking us to 6 on the day. That's a layup and a potential agent of chaos. Let's see here. We got one from Push Square. Let's see. Okay. Some fighting here. Some cutscenes. Yo. The symbiote suit looks so good. Did you see that? Look at the details, nuts. Even his hair, like, I'll be honest, the hair didn't look that good in the last game, but even the hair over here is nice. Oh, a little bit of Craven cutscene there. Got a quick time event. Not surprising at all. I'm getting a text message. According to IGN, somebody retweeted IGN's summary blog. According to IGN, there's 30 FPS, 40 FPS, and 60 FPS, all with ray tracing. All with ray tracing. That's unbelievable. Oh, here, let me move myself to the other side. It seems to commonly put stuff down in that corner. So this is the Push Square video. I don't want to show their whole video, so I'm going to, like, skip ahead. I'm going to chop pieces out here. We got a switch to Miles. Ryan with 4 months. Spider-Man 2 looks so breathtaking. Can't wait to play this game. So this we saw before. This is the gameplay reveal trailer, so this is not new. All right, here we go. Ray tracing's enabled in performance mode. Your opinion? Long as it maintains 60, I don't care. As long as it maintains 60. That was my beef with Final Fantasy 16's performance mode. Like, don't give me performance mode if you're not going to give me 60 the whole time. That's not what performance mode's about. It's not like, well, we'll give you 60 in combat, right? We'll give you 60 in combat. So, we're getting to see some of the fast traversal here. Look at that. Jiminy Christmas. He is absolutely flying. I don't think they're actually... Are they uploading their own gameplay? I think they all have the same B-roll. I think they all have the same B-roll because that looked like the exact same footage that IGN used when he, like, pulled the thing off the billboard. You think they just happened to go up the same building from the same side? I wonder if they gave them B-roll to use, but they're allowed to talk about what they played. I do not like missions like this, but since he's flying, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I need a t-shirt with 1.5 on it. 1.5, why? It just, look at the reflections in the dadgum water. Did you see that? Look at that. Do you see that over on the other side of the screen? Get out of here. Get out of here. It's dynamic 4K 60 with ray tracing. That is the person that replied to IGN. Oh, that's the community manager for Insomniac. That's the community manager literally said that. I thought it was a random person. 30 FPS, 40 FPS, and 60 FPS, all with ray tracing. Goodness gracious. Did you see his butt pop in? Where? Where? Back here? In this part? Where's the butt pop in happen? Booty popping? 628? Oh, hang on. Oh, you're right. I wonder what's going on there. That's weird. Let's find the frame that it happens. Oh, we missed it. That's weird. I can't tell if it's is his suit changing? No, it's not his suit changing. His body shape changes. That's really weird. Miles is twerking, bro. This is unplayable. I can't believe this. Look how this is embarrassing. Can't believe Insomniac would put this out here. Look at that. This needs clipped and put on Twitter, dude. This is absolutely unacceptable. It's freaking unplayable, dude. Freaking Miles out here twerking. Twerk bug. Out here showing off that dump truck. He probably farted. Yeah, the air just collected in there and had to get out. That's probably what it was. I think they're just going for realism, you know? I would say they're just going from realism. They're just going for realism. Kind of funny guy. Let's see here. Tim got to play Spider-Man. I got to play Spider-Man 2 or 3 hours. It was a lengthy demo, one of the best demos I've ever played, and I was impressed with the variety of it, how many of the different types of elements you're going to see in the game as both Miles and Peter, how they're very similar, but also different in terms of their combat and even traversal. Spider-Man gameplay refines way further than we've ever seen before. I feel like that's in terms of the momentum of traversal, in terms of the variety of the side quests that you're doing in the open world, in terms of the characters and stories that they're building out there, and then you're in the open world, you can switch back and forth between them. Very GTA 5, but just lightning fast. Playing this, I was like, I cannot wait. Every single possible thing in this game. It's more Spider-Man. That's what this, I think that's going to make a lot of people extremely happy. I don't know what else they could expect going into this, but if you didn't like the other Spider-Man games, I don't think this one's going to win you over. So he's basically saying, like, if you weren't a fan of the other games, like, this one's not going to win you over, but that's glowing praise from Tim over at Kinda Funny over there, hanging out. If you guys are just tuning in, we're bouncing back and forth all the different hands-on previews that are out there, and GameSpot's got some gameplay we can check out here, and let's take a look at what they have. Again, I think a lot of this might be B-roll. I don't necessarily think, I think it's B-roll. I don't know if they gave them their own footage, because I feel like we already saw this footage of him with the wings. Maybe not. Let's see. Gosh, the suits just look so good. The amount of texture. It's just so well done. I'm genuinely shocked at what they pulled off with the suits. And there's so many different kinds as well. Borbs gifts a 10 gifted member bomb. Thank you so much. That's a 10 bomb, and that takes us to 16 members on the day. You guys are about 200 and something members. If you hit 200 members today, you will unlock the first fight night. That's the first goal. That's for next month. That'll be 3,000 members. Thank you so much for doing that. You are the man, Borbs. You can now parry attacks by tapping L1. I thought I saw some parrying. Miles' performance ray tracing mode is the base performance mode. Really? So that's how they got it. Hang on, let's skip ahead. That's how they got it to look so good. Man, they're really splicing it up. This is not one that's going to work for what we're trying to do. We're just trying to like skip through and see different things. We're looking for more. We're looking for more previews. I literally searched for Spider-Man 2. Maybe we should search for Spider-Man 2 gameplay preview. Eurogamer's got one. Let's check out Eurogamer here. We're kind of spreading the love. We're not showing people's entire videos. A lot of these videos are 10 minutes or longer. And we're just showing snippets. We're just showing snippets. I don't want to like replace their content the day that it hits. So you can go watch complete videos from all these people. Again, I think it's B-roll. I really do. I think we've seen this one. That looks so... Oh my gosh, it looks good. Look at the... I gotta get out of the way. Goodness gracious. So wait, that just went from gameplay... That's in the game. He looks like that in the game. Look at his suit. I can't. I can't. That's nuts, bro. Come on, man. I don't even care. You make fun all you want, dude. I am genuinely shocked and gushing hype. I don't do this about games. I don't. I'm usually like, I don't know, man. It could be rendered gameplay. That's in the game. He was just climbing. That's what he looks like in the game. I cannot believe how good it looks. That's nuts. Cliffo says, I'd prefer dated graphics and loading screens, TBH. Thank you so much, Rabbit, for the 2-spot. 30, 40, and 60 FPS. Every angle. Oh, my word. Man. Just the animation in the arm, how it was like pulsating there. It looked so good. Got a lot of Spidey booty in our face. No complaints here. That thing is thangin'. And right back into it. Like, they're doing the same thing they did. They're doing the same thing they did in Ratchet, bro. They're going right from cinematics to gameplay, like, seamlessly. Jeepers. Spider-Man copied the Arkham combat system. It's extremely obvious. You have to dodge, counter, and attack button with a combo meter, so please stop it. Tell me you haven't played all the Arkham games and both Spider-Man games without telling me you haven't played those games. You have not played those games if you think that. They're completely different. The combat in Spider-Man and Miles is so dramatically different than what you get to do in Batman. And so much of Batman, honestly, Arkham was a lot of inspiration from Assassin's Creed. Like, you really got some of your history backwards. This is coming for Game of the Year. I mean, we can have that discussion. We really can. We can have that discussion. I think a game like this is going to really struggle to get Game of the Year. I think it's definitely a front-runner contender from everything we've seen and from everything we're hearing from the previews. IGN confirms that the demo showcase at Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 event was an older build of the game. We're sitting here today, we're playing Spider-Man 2. It's a 6-month-old build. It's a 6-month-old build, and it's getting this much praise. If it's getting this much praise, imagine the final product. Yeah, I don't mind showing this footage because it's B-roll, so I'm not actually taking from someone's edited video. Like, this is just B-roll that they're all using, so they all got, you know, their hands on this. So we're not replacing anybody's content by showing it. They all have the same footage. Even further back than AC, it comes from POP, Prince of Persia, Sands, and Warrior Within. Yeah, whenever somebody wants to reduce a game like this down to being like, it's just like Batman, it's the same system, stop it. It's like you literally don't know what you're talking about. It's not true at all. The combat flow is so much different. There's so much more agility. There's so much more you have to consider because you're constantly getting shot at. You have to play like Spidey. If you try to play this like Assassin's Creed or Batman, you will absolutely die. You can't play that way. I remember the first couple of hours of playing it, I really had to change the way that I was playing because I was trying to play it like it was Batman, and you cannot play that way. You can't. You got to be up in the air, you got to be dodging, you got to be juggling, you got to be doing aerials. Batman's not that at all. Batman's more of like a fisticuffs combo meter that you have to keep going, and it's more about like using the environment around you as well as like parry dodge. And in this one, there were almost no like parry dodge in the first game. Now in the first game, Spider-Man, you could like parry sort of if they shot at you. You could like spit web in their eye. If you perfect dodged, you could add that as like a perk. But Spider-Man was more about like the agility and the movement and not necessarily about like getting in a room full of dudes and like just punching your way out of it like you do in the Batman games. They very much have distinct combat, and the feel is very different because Spidey's so much faster. And if you don't utilize his speed and his ability to be like up in the air and using webs and using gadgets, it's not at all like what it feels like in Batman. He just freaking teleported. I guess that's a new ability for Miles. Video games, borrow good ideas from other games all the time. Where have you been? Well, and you can't reduce a game down to that. That would be like reducing Arkham games down to being like, well, it's basically just Batman, Assassin's Creed. It's like, no. Eugene says, I expected some hype. I expected to be excited. I did not expect to be absolutely blown away. Derek says, this is what happens when we actually get a legit preview of a worthy AAA title. This is why we're all so effing surprised. Because way too much of the BS we've seen lately. I don't disagree. I love the more brutal punchiness that we're seeing in this compared to what we just saw from Miles. Like, I love it. It feels like he's more down in the mix. Like, it's like he's like a boxer. And Miles was more like springy, teleporting, shocking, more acrobatic. This feels just more rough and tumble. I love it. Here we go. He's going to use his thing. Yes. It just looks so good. It just really does. Big Fesh, thanks so much for 19 months. Hope you're doing well, Lono. Spider-Man 2 looks so good. Can't wait to play it. I agree with you. Hang on, I gotta quickly, I'm gonna let this footage play, because again, this is just B-roll. We are not necessarily, like, I'm not taking from someone's video. They all have the exact same B-roll, so you're not getting any audio. You have no idea what they're saying. So we are not replacing people's content. If you want to go see what these outlets think, you're going to have to go watch their actual videos. And let's go here. All right, I'm going to schedule the preview roundup. Mike and I are going to pull up some, read through them a bit, see what we think. Right now, we've just been kind of looking at the gameplay. And go. Got brand new gameplay. Even after yesterday, even more gameplay. Andrew found us. Thank you so much, Andrew found us. That is a single gifted member. taking us up to 17 out of 25. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. I got to properly at my man 30 in the description. And we'll set this for 12:15. So the 30-minute noti goes out in about 10 minutes. Yeah, somebody replied to Jeff Keighley's tweet and said, nah, nothing can surpass Arkham City. I think it would just be easier to buy a PlayStation 5, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? There's no mode of this game that has the ray tracing turned off. No need for it. We've really figured out how to deliver what we feel like is the right Spider-Man picture and visuals, and we want to make sure every player is seeing that. Did y'all hear what I just said? They literally never turn off ray tracing. Yeah, the hair looks really good in this. Right? Like, I mean, if you have hair like Miles, feel free to weigh in. But a lot of the times, I think they mess up this hair type, this texture, and the way that it kind of, like, it frays out a little bit. Like, there's little individual hairs fraying out. Like, this to me looks far better than a lot of the times they try to do this hairstyle. It ends up looking like Play-Doh or something. It doesn't look like it has any texture to it. This looks, I think, really good. I also think just skin texture, too. They did a great job. Like, it looks very, very good. Clothing. I love when clothing and faces and texture just look really, really nice. George says, as a black man, they did pretty good. Ray tracing can include a lot of effects beyond ray tracing reflections. I'm not seeing any ray tracing ambient occlusion or nor ray tracing shadows. Hair looks decent. How does hers look? I didn't really pay attention. Yeah, hers looks pretty good too. The hair does look. I think the hair looks better in this than the last game. I think hair can be easy to screw up. You mean us blacks folks? Hair and skin? Oh, I think skin in general in games looks really good in this game in particular, not just because he was black, but I also think darker skin complexion in video games, it's easier to show lighting effects, because like a white guy, if you put too much like lighting on him, you wash him out. But I think that, yes, his hair, a lot of the times, I don't think they get black folks' hair right. They either give you an afro or like dreadlocks or braids. And I feel like the dreadlocks and the braids always end up looking like Play-Doh or something. Like they don't look, there's a texture that's always missing. And I thought his hair looked right. Like it looked good. It was like there's like little frayed pieces coming out and stuff. It looked realistic. Abe says Miles' hair could use some work. I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't have that kind of hair. I just thought it looked better than most of the time. I don't think it looks very good in games. For the longest time, they went pretty basic or pretty simple. Like, I think the hair in Jedi Survivor is not that great. It doesn't really work all that well. Black people get the same 3 hairstyles. Yeah, they give you afro, braids, dreadlocks. Like, that's it. Where's the confirmation that this was an old build? IGN said they were playing a 6-month-old build at the event. That's what they said. So, I don't think they would have a reason to lie about that. Just the cinematics alone. Yeah, here's another example of, I think that's good hair. I think that's better than the last game. The last game, the hair didn't look quite as good, especially Peter's hair. The corner of the building was destroyed and he flew through it. Nice. Hogwarts has good hair. Yeah, the hair in Hogwarts was pretty good. I'll give you that. It was pretty good. Would others agree that the tessellation in this looks way better than the previous game? What's tessellation? Goodness. The way the lighting interacts with the symbiote suit is just so impressive. It's so good. The new Peter's hair was clayish in the last game. Yeah, it almost looked like a helmet of hair. It didn't look like it had any substance to it. It's a way of generating fine detail and textures. They finally give us black people decent hairstyles. Yeah, I think more and more games are doing a better job of giving black folks the right hairstyles and the right hair texture. I think they are doing a better job of that. As someone with a beard, I get frustrated when a game doesn't make the beards look right. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a little bit different. Because I think y'all's hair can be almost like a cultural thing, so getting it right's far more important than like a beard. But I feel it at some level. I kind of feel like that's not what my beard looks like. That's not what a beard looks like. I don't think it's as culturally important though. You know? I don't want to speak out of turn, but that's my general impression, is that y'all's hair is more of a cultural thing. It's more culturally important to get it right, and getting a beard right is not as important. Oh, dang. Craven just straight up shot him. Just the hair on Craven on his like suit looks really good. That's really good. I think he looks better in this than he did last time, with like the hair especially. Facts. No, you're right. Okay. Not a fan of flying Spidey, but the tech's cool. Yeah, I feel like you've got to have a faster way to get around town, because if not, I think the concern would be you're going to get like, I don't know. I like swinging around town. I really did. But I think with this town, with everything being so much bigger, I think that's part of the problem. Is I feel like it would get a little bit old, if that makes sense. Because the map's like twice as big. I don't know if I want to be like slowly swinging my way through town again. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm going to want to go through town a little bit faster. I also think that because they're making you faster, they can have mission types that require you to be faster. It got old in the first game. Yeah, you're constantly like diving and swooping and grabbing to max out your travel speed, right? Well, you don't have to do that now. You just fly. Yo, Brad Devries gifts single member and takes the line up to 18. Thank you guys so much. Moving ever closely to 3,000 total members. Thank you so much. Especially across the river in the new zones. Yeah, I don't think you're going to want to be... I really don't think you're going to want to be, like, slowly working your way through, you know, these areas. What do people think of Foam Stars? I actually think Foam Stars is going to surprise a lot of people. Everybody's hating on it, calling it stupid, calling it, like, you know, Splatoon wannabe. And it's like, but you understand you can't play Splatoon anywhere else. So there's plenty of people that'll probably... I think folks are going to dig it. It's not a game that I would play for very long, but I don't know. I think people are immediately dismissing it, and I don't think that that's a good idea. I think games like that can kind of surprise us. Oh, you left a super chat. I'm so sorry. 2-spot from True SSJ Havoc. I was saying that about Starfield, same hairstyles. Oh, right. The apocalyptic suit. Yeah, this is from some of this is from their one trailer. So they had a second trailer with all these different suits you can get. Oops, I left my member goal over there. Put it up there. I don't think they'll support it longer than a year. Well, I mean, it depends. Depends on how it does, I would imagine. Yeah, Ben's studio developed one of the suits. Even if we go back to this initial trailer, look at Miles' suit here, right? It looks really plastic, super reflective. Even his eyes, I think, are less detailed. You can even tell. YouTube acting up today, didn't get a notification. Oh, we had a pretty strong start. Like, you can almost tell this is in the earlier stages, right? Pete's suit looks about the same. That texture looks about the same as it does now. But I feel like Miles' suit got a couple of passes to make it look a little less plasticky. Golly. They put so much care into the design of these characters. Look at him, bro. Hang on. I want to get a shot of this. We need a shot of this. Yeah. I want a shot of that. I'm going to collect a couple of screenshots here. Can you return to your apartment or lab in this game? I have no idea. Hang on. Go all the way back. Are we at the beginning yet? I want some of the symbiote. I realize I keep comparing this to a high-end PC and not previous PS5 version. If you're coming from the previous console version, this is a huge jump. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, anybody saying that this doesn't look next gen, you're kidding. You are absolutely kidding yourself. Like, you're literally joking around. I don't think there's any way to straight face with any shred of integrity say this doesn't look next gen. Like, these are just that. I hate to use the word, but it's straight coping, straight up. You're not telling the truth. You're just lying. Oh, Jen. How? None of this stuff was even possible back in the day. Like, you couldn't make stuff look like this. That's pretty good of Craven. Well, no, I want the other one of Craven when he was like in the he looks crazy there. So-and-so thinks the game isn't next generation. You're making that up. There's no way. There's no way. Spider-Man 2 previews are nuts. Ray tracing is on in every mode. Insomniac Games are wizards. There we go. I don't believe you. There's no way anybody is going to try to say this doesn't look next gen and expect people to take them serious. What's he saying that in response to? He's calling it a PS4 game on the PS5. I think it would just be easier to buy a PlayStation 5. I'm an Xbox fan. I bought a PS5 to play Spider-Man 2 and God of War. Great time to be a gamer. That's what I'm saying. It would just be easier to just buy a PlayStation 5. It's easier to do that. Like, the months and the weeks and the days and the hours committed to bat. Look at the way their hair moves, by the way. I think is Miles' hair moving a little too much? I feel like it would be. I feel like it would be a little bit stiffer than that. Anyway, more just good texture in the game too. Their jackets. Look at that. That's good. Anyway, that's the initial joke. Yeah, I don't think people understand the technology of loading screens and loading in areas. I don't think they understand it. Guys, we don't need to insult people. You can come in here and you can say, you know, so-and-so said this and I don't agree with them. That's fine. You can do that, but you don't need to call names and insult them. That's pointless. You are well within your right. If you want to quote somebody and you want to say, I can't believe they said this, or I don't agree with them, that's fine. But insulting them that's just not something that we do here. I just think it would be easier to buy a PlayStation 5 and just play the games and praise the games instead of spending days, weeks, hours, months, and years just false framing things and doing bad faith takes, right? Right? Like, there's a guy saying right now, like, 30 FPS, and this is the third iteration of the game. Yeah, there's 30 FPS modes. Like, what are you talking about? Goodness gracious, look at the rain coming down his suit. Oh, man, that's good. That's good. I gotta do another one. I gotta reply to my own. Somebody said that GTA 6 better look this good. PS5 will be cheaper than a therapy in the future. All three graphics modes have VRR and 120 hertz support. I accidentally got really drunk last night and got frustrated playing AC6. I need a chill game. Yeah, it sounds like you do. Like I said yesterday, the game, in my opinion, is rushed due to 2018 and 2023 development. And hit right in the middle of that. The game will be good, no doubt. So that means every game coming out this year is rushed. You just basically said that every game coming out this year is rushed, which is, again, what you're saying is silly. So that means Starfield was rushed, Baldur's Gate 3 was rushed, Final Fantasy 16 was rushed. They're all coming out of the same development cycle. Why are you singling this game out and saying that it was rushed? Why? Like, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. 3 years ago, everybody was dealing with the exact same thing, but this is the only game that was rushed. Sounds like you have an agenda more than, like, I don't know, industry observations to add. Like, I'm going to add this observation about the industry and what happened in 2020. No, you have an agenda. Did you say that about every single game that came out? Did you? Did you say that Armored Core 6 felt rushed, or you thought it was rushed? Did you say every single game that launched this year felt and looked rushed? Did you say that? Because if not, you're not consistent, which means you lack integrity and honesty, and you're just running some agenda. You're just running some narrative. I don't see evidence of a game that's rushed. I see a game that already looks better than the first couple of outings. Yes, all of them got delayed. I don't understand what you mean then. That's a non sequitur. So if a game had to develop during 2020 and went through a delay, you're coming to the conclusion that it was rushed. That's a non sequitur. It does not logically follow that if something was delayed or had to be developed during 2020, that it was therefore rushed. That doesn't make any sense at all. It's an illogical position. There's no logic to it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You're just saying, because of 2020 and delays, these games were rushed. What? Like, if you're going to make an argument for a game being rushed, like, actually point to substantive evidence. Like, let's look at Jedi Survivor. When Jedi Survivor came out, it ran poorly, it had performance issues, and they just recently finally patched some of the problems out of it. That right there is a logical step-by-step argument of saying this game was rushed. With Spider-Man, you don't do that. You just say, I just think it was rushed. Like, why? I don't see any evidence in the gameplay. I don't see any evidence in the graphics. I don't see any evidence in the previews. People are saying this is one of the best demos they've ever played. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you substantiate it? Other than the generic observation that, well, in 2020, there was this global situation, and therefore every game coming out right now was rushed. Again, that's a non sequitur. It does not logically follow. It's just, you're just jumping to a conclusion. Like, this was the first showing. Right here. This was the first showing. And the second time they showed the game, there was a graphical jump in detail, lighting, and everything else. And now the third time they've shown it, it looks even better. I don't see any evidence of a rushed game at all. I need to get the scene set for... We're nearly 4 years out from the global situation. Well, that's what I mean. Like, I do not see evidence. I do not see evidence that this game was rushed. Did so-and-so say they would actually review bomb? I don't think so. That would be ridiculous. Okay, so what are some good ones to look at that you found, Eugene? I got IGN's and I got GameSpot's. I'm gonna get on this call with Mike. Hang on. I thought I had a scene. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay. And then me. Gotta get here. Ah, shoot. Okay. I'm trying to set this scene so that Mike and I can actually, like, look at stuff with you guys. Read through it is what I'm saying. Oh, this thing's cropped. Okay. All right. And that's going to need to be behind Mike. And I'm going to need to be in front of it as well. Okay. I can clean that up a bit in a second. Wait. That's not going to work. Because this is going to have to be off to the side. Did the ads get any more obnoxious on these websites? I'm not going to be able to cap Mike properly. Because I got to go half on the screen. I can't think of how to do it. I cannot think of how to do this. I got it because I got to get Mike on the screen. And if I make this full screen, then I can't see him. I might have to do the call on the gaming rig, which I hate doing. No fishing in this game. My interest has really taken a hit. Yeah. Let's see if I can get this. Hang on. I might be able to get this to look right. Yeah, I can get this to look right. Okay, I got it. Okay. Hang on. I've solved the problem. Find them and destroy them. Boom. Boom. All right, you there, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we can go to the scene, and I can work with this.
Are you gonna put the? Do I need to bring up the trailer on my own computer, or are you gonna put it through Discord?
I was going to. I don't want to necessarily watch. I was figuring we would do more reading than watching.
Okay.
Because most of what we saw, we just kind of watched. It was a lot of B-roll.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. Well, no. There was new B-roll that hit just today.
Oh, I haven't seen it today's.
Okay.
Where's that at?
If you look, I think IGN's preview's pretty good. They kind of use a lot of the B-roll. So you can be watching that while I'm kind of reading.
Yep.
Because I've got IGN's preview. I've got GameSpot's. And then if anybody wants to give us any more to look at, or if there's a source that you like to go to for this kind of thing.
Is this the 8-minute video?
Yes.
Okay.
We got one from VG247 and The Guardian. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys a link in just a second. Guys, do me a favor before we leave this stream. I'm going to put the daily goal down here in the corner so you guys can kind of track where it is. But make sure you're smashing that like button. Get us to 400 likes before we go to the new stream. This will be a new stream. I wanted to kind of have a preview roundup separate from sort of my opening monologue about it looking better and then some of that new gameplay that we were just looking at. Now, if you don't get redirected, you can always go to the channel. It'll be the premiere. It'll be like the featured video. Okay. 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 All right, I'm going to spam a link in chat, guys. That's where we're headed. That's the new video. If you want to head over there, smash the like button over there. Don't forget to give some members. Hit that 25 goal for the day at the very least. We're going to be over there live in just a second. Spider-Man 2 has 0 sandwiches, therefore it's a lesser game. I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's definitely fair.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
I mean, logically, less sandwiches, less game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Starfield really raised the bar on the sandwich count, and until we see that from other games, I don't really know what else I can play.
It's like that fire though, those sandwiches though.
That fire though, that's right. That fire though. Okay. All right. Click that link in chat, guys. That's where we're headed. All right. We're going live in a second here. Thanks so much for checking out another video here. A segment we do on Fridays, typically with my man 30 and So Gaming over there, but a little bit different scene. This week is going to be a Spider-Man 2 preview roundup. The previous stream where I talked about how Spider-Man 2 is looking even better than before, we actually looked at all the new footage coming out from the previews. It's B-roll, so whoever you watch, it's the same footage. We might end up looping that footage for you here in a moment, but we're primarily going to be reading through some of the previews to give you a glimpse into what everybody's saying about this game, because it is glowing. Not surprising, Insomniac had the confidence to let people play this game so far in advance. We're even hearing that this was a 6-month-old build that they were playing, so we're likely to see more polish and things before it finally comes out. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect everybody over. Make sure as you